Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're plunging into a neighborhood that really embodies Tokyo's fascinating contradictions. Futako-Tamagawa.
Or Nikotama, as pretty much everyone calls it.
Exactly, Nikotama.
And it's a place that's really defined by its modern high-gloss brand. You know, when you hear Nikotama, you instantly picture that bright, expansive, upscale environment.
Yeah, the kind of place built around luxury retail and these massive sort of green-filled complexes. But that image, the whole celebrity town thing built on Takashimaya and Rise, it really only tells half the story.
Right. There's much more underneath.
So our deep dive mission today is to move past that surface. We want to understand the unique history, the surprising mix of local character versus global commerce, and these two completely different urban planning models that define the district.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Okay, so to set the stage, we're talking about a key area in the southwest of Tokyo's Setagaya ward.
Right on the edge. Yeah, it directly borders Kanagawa Prefecture, separated only by the Tama River. And importantly, the sources note that Setagaya Ward officially positions this area as one of its major wide area living bases.
Okay, wide area living base. For those of us not deep in urban planning jargon, what does that technical term actually mean for people living there or visiting?
Well, essentially, it means the city sees Nikotama not just as a local spot, but as a crucial, kind of self-sustaining regional center.
Serving a wider area.
Exactly.
Okay.
Designed to serve the broader surrounding population. It needs to have major retail, culture, administration, significant employment, all the features that have really driven the massive developments we see today.
That makes perfect sense, especially when you look at the scale of the recent projects. But let's start with the name itself. Futako-Tamagawa. It's a compound name, which usually means there's a story there.
Oh, definitely. It is a literal mashup, drawing from the regions divided by the river. Tamagawa comes from Tamagawa village on the Setagaya side, and Futako comes from Futago village on the Kawasaki side, just across the Tama River.
And what's fascinating here, reading the sources, is how much history is embedded just in that name, Futako. It's not just some, cute geographical reference.
Not at all. The name Futago, meaning twins, was actually adopted when the Oremachi line opened. It specifically references the ancient history of the area.
Ancient history? Like how ancient?
Well, it was named after a massive ancient burial site that once dominated the land, the Futagozuka Kofun, a twin mound tomb.
Wow. It's kind of incredible to think of this super modern, high-tech town having its roots tied to an ancient burial mound. I love that unexpected depth.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the history here has always been about transit and access. Long before trains and cars, the area was defined by the Futago no Watashi.
The famous ferry crossing, right?
Exactly.
Ferry crossing.
And the folklore around that crossing is such a great detail. It really humanizes the place. It really does. There's a chronicle, the Tamagawa Chronicle, which records this intriguing tale. Apparently, the ferry was started by twin brothers.
Ah, the Futago again?
Yes. They supposedly used the belongings found on a deceased traveler to build the first boat. It's this small, deeply human story that established the area's identity early on as a critical gateway linked by water and commerce.
That historical DNA being a place travelers pass through, and also a place people go for, well, entertainment, that seems crucial. The sources show that during the Edo period, it wasn't shops. It was a post town on the Oyama Road.
Right. And the ferry landing naturally attracted tea houses.
Which then evolved.
Yeah, they eventually evolved into a pretty sophisticated multi-level restaurant and even a geisha district, drawing pleasure seekers out from central Tokyo.
So it always had this element of being a destination.
Definitely. And that heritage of entertainment and tourism, you can even see it reflected in the railway history. When the Tamagawa Electric Railway opened way back in 1907, it was just Tamagawa Station. Simple enough. But as the local amusement park Futako-Tamagawa grew really popular, it was huge. Though it eventually closed in 1985, the station name kept changing.
Oh, right, I read about that.
Yeah, it briefly became Futako Yomiuri N Station to capitalize on the park, before finally settling on the current Futako-Tamagawa Station only in the year 2000.
So the area has constantly been reinventing itself as a leisure destination.
Exactly. A place to go.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, I think. That foundation of leisure and, let's face it, affluence, it really set the stage for the current economic reality. And that's defined by the coexistence of these two massive commercial pillars, Tamagawa Takashimaya SC and Futako-Tamagawa Rise.
And they represent two totally different philosophies of urban development, side by side.
Let's break that down.
Absolutely. Let's start with the pioneer, Takashimaya Shopping Center on the west side. It opened way back in November 1969.
Wow, 69.
Yeah. And this wasn't just another department store. It claimed to be Japan's first suburban-style shopping center. Now, there's some debate about the first claim, but the concept was groundbreaking.
What made it suburban style back then in 1969?
The big difference was the emphasis on the automobile. It perfectly combined a high-end department store with specialist shops and, crucially, massive parking lots.
Ah, catering to cars.
It totally anticipated and catered to that shift toward car ownership among the wealthy post-war generation. It was engineered, really, to pull in affluent folks from surrounding areas like Seiyo and Denenshofu, people who would arrive in their own cars.
So Takashimaya didn't just sell luxury goods. It kind of created and sold a new lifestyle that cemented Nikotama's reputation for exclusivity.
Precisely.
But the sources also note the inevitable drawback of that car-centric model, just chronic weekend traffic jams, nightmare traffic.
Oh, absolutely. A huge issue for decades.
So how has Takashimaya survived the big shift back toward transit-oriented development that came later?
Well, that's the critical question, isn't it? While the traffic was a massive headache, its really strong high-end brand loyalty and its pioneering status gave it incredible staying power. But times changed, and the modern era demanded a shift. Which brings us neatly to the counterpoint. Futako-Tamagawa Rise on the east side of the station.
Rise is a completely different beast. Just massive, mixed use. A behemoth, really.
It is a spectacular example of modern planning, and the planning for Rise started decades ago, believe it or not, back in 1982.
82? Wow.
Yeah, but its grand opening only happened in phases, finally culminating in 2015. It was one of Tokyo's largest private urban renewal efforts ever. We're talking 11.2 hectares with a total project investment somewhere around 150 billion yen.
That is just a staggering scale. And the stated theme for this enormous development was something like the harmony between nature and city, right?
But that harmony feels quite tangible when you're there. They really integrated the huge 6.3-hectare Futako-Tamagawa Park and made efforts to protect the local topography, the cliff line we'll talk about.
And the scale inside.
Oh, the scale is evident inside, too, in structures like the Galleria. It's this massive, grand atrium space, about 100 meters long and soaring 30 meters high.
Wow.
To picture that, imagine walking into a space that feels almost like a cathedral, but carved out of a shopping center. It's impressive.
And this redevelopment, Rise, this is what truly established that celebrity town reputation, moving it from just an image to, well, reality.
Yes. It wasn't just about attracting wealth anymore. It was about generating it and housing it right there.
How so?
Well, the residential component of Rise the Tower and Residence Complex is a major indicator. The source material shows apartments selling for roughly $100 million for a two-bedroom unit.
100 million, yeah. Okay.
And rents hovering around $300,000 per month. Now, to put that in perspective, while this might be slightly below, say, super central Tokyo averages, it's significantly higher than the average for Sedagai Award overall. It marks a clear boundary of affluence.
Right. And the final piece of that puzzle, the thing that really cemented this shift, was the corporate presence.
Absolutely critical. When Rakuten moved its massive headquarters, the Crimson House, to Rise in 2015, that was huge.
Yeah, I remember that move.
It brought this massive influx of highly paid young families, people who succeeded in IT, in business. This transformed Nikotama from a town with maybe an image of luxury into a place that is, by definition, genuinely and tangibly affluent because of who actually lives there now.
So what does all this mean for the quality of life?
Yeah.
Beyond the dazzling scale of the malls, why is this location so consistently praised as a great place to live?
Well, the sheer convenience is hard to beat. You've got the convergence of the Tokyu-Den and Toshi line and the Omachi line.
Two major lines.
Right, providing excellent connectivity. You can get directly to Shibuya, Omotesando, even Otemachi for business. And while we establish housing costs are high for the level of urban amenity and access you get, it's still considered, relatively speaking, a bit of a bargain compared to the absolute core downtown areas. A sweet spot, perhaps.
But the really fascinating element for me, the thing that gives the town its character, is the resistance to complete homogenization. It hasn't just become one giant mall.
That's the local character we talked about finding. Right next to the designer boutiques in Rise, you find these local treasures like the Yagoshoten.
The vegetable shop.
Yes, the little vegetable shop. It's been a local fixture for generations, maintaining this comforting, low-key, almost downtown feel. It's wonderful.
And the prices there really highlight the incredible economic, well, diversity might be too strong, but the contrast anyway.
They really do.
Yeah.
While Nikotama is synonymous with luxury spending, the sources point out Yagoshoten is still selling bell peppers for like 148 yen, excluding tax, even with prices rising everywhere.
That's amazing.
This coexistence, a massive corporate HQ, global luxury brands, and a small, fiercely local, affordable veggie shop, it suggests the redevelopment was actually quite careful not to entirely strip away the neighborhood's soul. And that's vital for long-term community health, isn't it?
Absolutely. And beyond the retail and housing, the investment in culture and education seems really targeted towards these affluent, upperly mobile families moving in.
Exactly. The area doesn't just cater to consumerism. It invests heavily in learning, culture, and art. You see unique facilities like the Play, Eric Carle.
Oh, the Hungry Caterpillar place.
Yeah, immersing kids in the world of the very hungry caterpillar. Or the famous Tsutaya Electrics, which functions less like a standard electronics store and more like a sophisticated lifestyle and cultural hub. They're clearly building a highly stimulating environment, especially for young families.
And finally, we have to come back to the natural element, the constant backdrop that, money can't buy, which makes all this urban density feel tolerable, even pleasant.
It is Nikotama's ultimate advantage, I think. You have the vast Tama River riverbed right there, the smaller Nogawa River, and all that greenery running along the Kokubunji cliffline.
Okay, for our listeners, what exactly is the Kokubunji cliffline? Why is it so important geographically there?
Right. It's a really crucial geographical feature in this part of Tokyo. It marks the steep slope, the cliff, that separates the higher Musashino Plateau from the lowlands along the Tama River.
Ah, so it's a natural boundary.
Exactly. And that elevation change provides natural drainage, but most importantly, it maintains this dense strip of relatively rare greenery and surprisingly rich biodiversity that's largely protected from high-density building.
That natural space is actually used by residents, right? It's not just pretty scenery.
Oh, absolutely. The natural areas are fully utilized. Hyogo Island Park, for instance, offers bits of almost uncultivated wilderness right in the city.
Really? Wilderness?
Well, relatively speaking, you can find large fish like carp and catfish, various birds like ducks, white herons. It's a key recreational fishing spot, though you do need to pay the local fishing fee.
Right.
And of course, the whole area just bursts to life for the spectacular annual Tamagawa Fireworks Festival in the summer. It's a huge event.
So Nikotama's secret sauce isn't just its wealth or its shopping. It's this highly successful balancing act between dense, advanced urban functionality and preserving these irreplaceable natural resources.
Reconfirming that analysis, the appeal is definitely multi-layered. We started with that surface image, the celebrity town, and we've uncovered this really complex history from ancient river crossings and old pleasure districts to pioneering car-centric retail in the 60s, and now these state-of-the-art IT headquarters and mixed-use developments. The area is really a living lesson in continuous urban evolution.
This has been a really fascinating deep dive. It feels like if you look at Futako-Tamagawa, you're truly seeing two visions of modern Tokyo coexisting almost perfectly.
How do you mean?
You got Takashimaya, the sort of suburban retail pioneer of the mid-20th century, right next door to Rise, which is the absolute model of 21st century transit-oriented mixed-use development.
And that successful coexistence, that's the key takeaway, I think. This district is really demonstrating how a major hub can adapt to future demands without necessarily sacrificing either high function or its historical character or its natural setting.
Which leaves us with this final thought maybe for you to ponder. When you consider just how difficult it is for modern cities to achieve genuine sustainability and livability, how much of Futako-Tamagawa's success relies simply on the amazing natural gift of the Tama River and that cliff line, and how much is actually replicable urban planning that other cities could learn from?
A very interesting question.
Maybe go explore this unique blend of cutting-edge commerce and preserved wilderness for yourself and see what you think.